This video is part 7 of the Coil vessel project, and in between the time from the last video, I added 2 more coils and I smoothed out the inside to save some time. But I just wanted you to see how now, as you progress upwards, especially specifically for my form, it colors in. So as it's more narrow, it's easier. This is much drier at the bottom, so it can withstand the weight, and you can add more coils. Potentially I could have added another 2, but because let's bring up the template, it's not perfect, but it's fairly close. And so here I'm coloring in this part here, so you can see I'm a little bit past halfway. It's my ruler right at 6.5 inches, and right, our goal is 10 inches. So again, I smoothed out the inside of the 2 coils that I added. The base is very true to leather hard, and I can proceed to work. I'm just going to work and smooth these out to show you. And I don't want to do too many of these videos, but I want to give you enough videos, enough information that you feel confident to make your own vessel without having too much difficulty. So again, the tools that I'm mostly using are the rib tool that comes with your toolkit, and then this mud tool, kidney rib. Now that it's getting more collared and narrow at the top, it is still pretty hard to go in there with a large tool such as this. So I'm going to use this one and just smooth that around. I did smooth that out. I'm going to go on the outside and just do the same step as you saw before, right? I'm smoothing those seams, keeping in mind that I want it to go more like that curve. So that's how my finger positionings are moving. And then that other seam too, can just seal that. And again, see how my left hand is still on the inside, supporting the pressure, you know, instead of me just working like this and making it kind of all distorted, perhaps too much pressure, I'm just using that hand in there as a guide for support. You can see I'm making it all the way around, then hitting up this seam. And keep in mind too, the coils are pretty wet, so about this much here is definitely not leather hard. It's much softer and it's much more workable, and it takes the rib, and it's how it allows me to manipulate the form much easier. Now that the inside and outside is smoothed off, you can then go with your tool, your ribs, and a same old, just go back and forth, compressing those clay particles, going over in the seam in different directions to prevent any cracks from happening. Here's too where this rib tool might come in handy because it is on the outside and it does have that nice profile line. I can really work it like so. You can see hopefully that it's very bending, very soft at the top, but that's great because this bottom part is not. So I can still just be pretty forceful with how I'm shaping and scraping. Nothing drastic, of course, right? But and from the time from the last video till now, I did spend a great deal of time using this kidney rib in the inside and really addressing that and making that kind of bulb out as much as possible. It's getting a little bit to move, but it's a little bit closer so you can see what's happening there, right? And what I will do, I'm not extremely fixated on the template, but I could certainly go into this area here with my kidney rib and press out more. Because it is more leather hard, the clay can withstand me applying a little bit more pressure to make that flare out. So after I do spend the time smoothing these coils, I'll go in with this tool, and down here, right, way more down here where it's more dry, I can then press from the inside to have it flare out even more. At Dutchess Community College, we do have paddles. And in the next video, I will bring out a wooden spatula. You may have one that you could take from the kitchen and turn into a toolkit, or you may want to purchase one. There's specifically designed clay paddles, but any wooden kind of tool to pat, you can see. I don't use them too often, I must say, but I want to show you how that tool can be used. So in the next video, I will bring out a spatula for you all to see how you can paddle the clay to get the shape. You know, it's another way for you just to form and allow more creases to happen, more movement to go in. And often sometimes people use them to stretch the clay, right? Because you can often go along, even these fresh coils I added at the top. Remember from the previous videos, I did mention you can go in like so and just pinch them to make it more thinner, to make it stretch more vertical. But for now, I'm just really concentrating on making sure that seam is well blended. And then after I do that, that's when I will again cover the rim with this type of plastic, let it sit up for, depending on the weather, depending on the temperature of where you're working indoors. Just keep checking on it to make sure it gets a little bit drier and not so soft. Then you can come back and really work the inside and the outside. And this shape of the tool here, that profile line, really can get in nicely because the form that I chose really does, you know, here it flares in. I can take this tool and just enhance that even more. But again, right now it's a little on the wet side to do that. Once you allow it to stiffen up a bit and then come back to really work it and get it to be as close as the form that you're hoping to match with your template, you'll have much better success as it sets up and becomes closer to leather hard. Just going to finish this going around a little bit on the outside, and that should do it for this point. And notice how I'm switching the tool to the flat side, to the rounded side, depending on where I'm hitting. And it's so flexible. It's such a great tool just to slide up and make nice and smooth. So that's nice and sealed, those seams. And for now, what I will do, because it is very wet from here up, I'm just going to, remember, have patience and wrap just the rim. Check it in an hour or so, maybe a little longer, and then come back to it. And just leave it like that. This part can dry more, and come back to it, and you'll be able to work it more with your ribs. So stay tuned for next stages.